Hello all. In the previous video, we have seen how to develop a function and use it. In this video, our main focus will be on the list. Before proceeding with the list, we will experiment one more thing with the function that we have developed in the last video. Let's see the function that we have developed. This is the function that we have developed in the last video. Add, which takes two arguments x and y and performs addition. In the interpreted mode, GHCI, we can load this module :load and add 1. Now we have seen that like we can perform variety of operations like 1 plus 1 arithmetic operation will result into 2. And now as we have developed a function, this function can be used with the arithmetic operation. For example, we can do it like this: 1 plus add 4 or 3 space 4. So result becomes 8. So what happened is addition function has returned the addition of 3 and 4 with 7, which is in turn added with 1, and the final result is 8. So you can use the user defined functions in this style also. Now let's start speaking about the list. In Haskell, the lists are designed to keep similar kind of data. That means we can create a list which keeps integers. We can create a list which can keep characters. There is one limitation that we cannot have a list which is a combination of different types. For example, we cannot have a list which contains characters and integers. So let's define our list. Let's say list1 is equal to, we'll put some numbers 1, 2, 3. So this is the syntax for creating a list. So list1 is the name. Assignment, we are using two square brackets, and each element is separated with the comma. Now obviously this list is of integers. If I press enter, the list has been created. Now you can print all the elements inside this list by simply saying list1. So 1, 2, 3 are the elements inside my list. On the similar basis, we can also create a list for characters. Let's say list2, and let's initialize the list2 with some characters. Let's say I, N, D, I, A, India. Now if you print list2, you can clearly see this, that it is not using the syntax used by list1. It is simply printing the list of characters as string. So let's try to create a string in a different style. List3 is equal to, let's say, Bharat, and let's print it list3. So you can see that the list2 and list3, we have used a completely different way of initializing both the list, but the output is very same. We can perform variety of operations on the list. One common operation is combining two lists. What we can do is list2 plus plus list3. So it says India, Bharat. Now let's put a space while combining these two lists. Let's say India space Bharat. Now we have India space Bharat, which is a new list. We are not storing this result into a new list. We are just displaying the output on the screen. What we can do is we can store this result in some new list. So let's say list 4 is equal to list 2 plus space plus plus list 3. Press enter. Now if I print list 4, we'll get the result, which is the combination of list 2 and list 3. The same can be done with numeric list. So this, we can create a list with which contains a list inside it. For example, let's say we have list 1, which is a list of numbers. What we can do is let's define list 5 is equal to, so 1, 2 and 3. So list 5 is a special list. This list contains three sublists inside it. So list 5 have list 1, list 2 and list 3 inside it, and this each list contains one number. So if you define list like this, list 6, and if you just put some or two empty lists inside it. Oh, I've used one, I've made one error. I should say assignment list 6. Now if you print list 6, list 6, if there might be a question that whether the list 6 is empty or not, the answer is not. List 6 is not empty. Reason is list 6 contains two lists which are empty. So list 6 have two elements, list 1 and list 2. But list 1 and list 2 which are part of list 6 are empty. So remember that list 6 is not treated as an empty list. List 6 have two elements inside it which can be used. There are other operations on the list that can be performed. For example, list 1, list 2, sorry. So let's define one more list. Let's redefine list 2. List 2 is equal to 4, 5 and let's say 6, and we can combine this list 1 and list 2 in the same way that we have used to combine list of string or list of characters, which was India and Bharat. So this is fine. What we can do is we can compare these two lists. Let's say list 2, whether list 2 is less than list 1 is less than list 2 or not. So it says true. So what happens is the each and every element of both lists are compared one by one. So list 1 elements are this, list 2 elements are this. So when we write list 1, whether it is less than list 2 or what, so what Haskell does is it takes the first element of list 1, it compares with the first element of list 2, and it does it for each and every element of list 1 and list 2. As soon as it concludes, it finds that all the elements in the list 1 are lesser than the elements inside the list 2, particular index element of the list 2. Then it concludes that the list 1 is smaller than list 2 and it prints true. Let's do one small modification. So list 2, we have 4, 5 and 4, 6, 6. So we will modify the element as 1, 1 and 4, 1, 1 and 4. Now let's compare these two lists. List 1, whether it is less than list 2 or what. So now the answer is false. So what has happened is in list 2 we have element 1, 1 and 4, and in list 1 we have element as 1, 2 and 3. So 1, 1, it is not less than the element of list 2. So we have immediate result as false. So list 2 is not less than the list 1. So that's why the result has came false. We can try variety of operations. For example, list 1, whether it is less than or equal to list 2. Now result is again false. Why? The element number 2 in the list 2 is list 1 is greater than the element number 2 in the list 2. For let's print list 1. It contains 1, 2, 3, and in list 2 we have 1, 1, 4. So now what has happened is when we have given less than or equal to comparison between the list 1 and the list 2, the operation has started checking from the first element of list 1 with the first element of list 2 till the last index of first list and the second list. So when the operation compared the first element in the list 1, which is 1, with the first element in the list 2, which is again 1, the condition is satisfied that it is less than or equal to. So it proceeds with the comparison of a second element. The second element in the list 1 is 2 and the second element in the list 2 is 1. Here the mismatch has happened compared to the condition. The element in the list 1 is greater than the element in the list 2. So immediately the output is printed as false. So when we have a comparison operation, what happens is
the list 1's first index is compared with the list 2's first element, and so on. So every respective indexes are compared between these two lists. If condition has been satisfied till the last index of both the list, then the output is true. Otherwise, the output is printed as false. Hopefully, you understood the concept. See you in the next video.